Hey guys, I thought I'd do a little reading vlog this week because I've been reading more since I've finished up with uni this year. I feel like normally I've been the type of person who reads a lot more during the school year and then like not really over the summer because I have plans and I just want to go outside, and like really honestly the last thing on my mind is to like sit inside and read. But because of uni, I've had like so many readings actually like for classes and stuff that I've been reading so much less than I normally do, which is fine. It's just like really unlike me. Like I've read like I think like 20 something books this year only, and normally like I read like 80 in a year, so like halfway point of that many books is like, it's unlike me, but like it's normal. It just like took me a while to get used to it because like that's not normally how much I read, but it's still a lot of books. I get that, but it's just different for me. But since I've been back home, I've been reading a lot more, so I wanted to do a little reading vlog. Also, my reading taste since hitting uni has changed a lot, like because I've been reading so many like political papers and journals and just like brain heavy stuff. I've been reading a lot more like really easy, relaxing kind of reads, so just like a lot of romance novels, which love a good romance. It's just unlike me to not really hit, like I haven't read a memoir since last February, like a year and a bit ago. I haven't read a classic since probably maybe last summer. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read books that are like in my normal book taste. Also literary fiction, like I used to be such a big literary fiction person, but like I need like such escapism at the moment that I've just been reading so many romance novels. But I have finally had the feeling again to read books that used to be in my comfort zone that are now kind of outside of my comfort zone, so I wanted to do a little reading vlog. I've been reading recently Emma by Jane Austen, which this and then Sense and Sensibility are the only two Jane Austen novels that I have not read. She's one of my favorite authors. I adore her. And yes, this is a romance, but it's also a classic, so it's like kind of in between. And I know I love her work, so I feel like that's a good way to like get back into what I used to read a little bit. And like, you don't need to. Book tastes change, life changes, whatever. But I've been wanting to get back into classics and nonfiction and literary fiction. Right? That's what it's called? Yeah, a little bit more recently. I finally had the pull. So I think I will continue reading Emma this week, definitely. I just love the writing so much. It's just so good. I tried reading it like at the end of the year, but like I had so many papers, literally what did I think I was doing? Like no. So I'm only like 69, 70 pages in right now. So yeah, this is my first. And then honestly, I got these books last week, a baby book haul. I got Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. It's a romantasy duology. So you've got the romance, but you've got the fantasy. I have been reading that this year as well, just a lot less. If you guys saw, I've read, oh my god, these massive books. I read House of Earth and Blood, and then I still haven't finished House of Sky and Breath. I do really enjoy it. I've read like a lot of it and I really like it. It was just, I was reading it like right up until finals, and then when finals hit I was just like no, so I kind of forgot about her. But I do really like her. I think I'll add her to the more like let's get back to her now. You can tell which one I like more by the amount of tabs that we've had so far. Like I've been liking this one. This one just hit a lot more. Some of the POVs in this one, if you don't know, it's an urban fantasy, so it's like they have cell phones and guns and whatever the heck, and they go to bars, but there's also like vampires and mermen and fae and werewolves and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like a mystery. At least the first one was like mystery at the beginning, and then that's how we kind of got into the plot. It's really interesting. I really like it. There's like one POV in this book that anytime I get to it I just put the book down because it like bores me to tears, but I love everybody else. It's literally just that one. He's a good character. Like in this book, he's a good character. It's just in this book, we didn't have his POV, and that's why I liked him. Now with his POV, it's just such like a sidetrack. Like, it's important to the plot, but it's just really slow. So I think I want to add that more because I kind of forgot about her. But anyway, yes, Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. It's a romantasy series, duology. I actually have no clue what it's about. I started it like the first 30 pages yesterday. So far, the main character is this girl who works as one of like the queen's, not assassins, but I guess like henchmen, like main protectors, but then they also go out on missions and stuff. It's her, and then the guy, I think, is one of the Ballingers, I believe that's the last name. And they own this like piece of land up in the north, and they kind of think that they rule over. Okay, so they own this little piece right there, and they think like they have authority over everything, I guess. That's what it seems like so far. I've heard it's really good. I haven't actually heard what it's about though, so I couldn't tell you, but I've been like kind of reading this, so we'll see if I pick this up or not. She's been a touch slow for these first 30 pages, but it is 30 pages of a fantasy book. Your world building, like, you really need to get into it. I guess I'm just not particularly in the mood. So we've had that going on, and then other than that, I don't know what we're just gonna be mood reading. We're gonna finish one of these, pick something up. I have had my eye literally only for the last like 4 hours now on finally reading One Day, which I've been wanting to read for the past like 3 months since the show came out. The show was so good. I didn't know that it was a book until I got to the last episode, and then I was like, well, it's too late now to read the book first. So yeah, but I have been really wanting to read this. It's basically these two people meet on graduation day when they're graduating Edinburgh University. The whole story is about them, not necessarily like them together or apart, but I don't know if it's every chapter or every other chapter. I don't know if it's POV or whatever, but at least in the show, it was every episode was a different year. So I'm assuming at least few chapters, it's gonna be a different year on the exact same day. You don't know what happened during that year between them, like why they have separated or why they've gotten closer or what, but it's just a story about them. Sometimes they're together on that day, sometimes they're not, and you see they're like two separate stories. But I really liked it. It was really interesting and also really heartbreaking. Oh, 20 years, two people, so it spans 20 years. So from after graduating university to 20 years after that, so you're like 41, 42, like you can only imagine what has happened, especially with only seeing like one day at a time from the year. So yeah, I have been a little bit drawn to this even more just in the past few hours since I've been like watching YouTube. But yeah, I think I'm gonna continue Emma, and then I'm gonna see if I want to pick this up, or I'm gonna continue House of Sky and Breath, because I do really like this book and I would like to continue it. I just put her down, and oh, thankfully I put her down like on a chapter, because sometimes with these like fantasy books that have like long ass chapters, I just have to put a fucking bookmark in it at a random goddamn place. Sometimes I just can't. So I'm gonna pick one of those. I want to get one more of these this week, so that might be in this video as well, just because as you can tell, we don't have space, and there's also books in my closet that I have, and I want to like take some off of my floating shelves and kind of rearrange that, because there's one floating shelf that's like packed full, like vertically, horizontally, there's just books all over it, and I would like to make that a little bit nicer, maybe present some of my favorite books on there or something. So yeah, we will be hopefully adding one of these to my setup this week. But yeah, I'm gonna get to reading one of these now. I forgot to say that I also started Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood on my iPad the other day, and I got to chapter 10, which is I think like 27% in. I'm not obsessed with it. She did like right before actually starting the book like a little note just being like, hey, this book is very different than my other books. Like, it's not really a rom-com-y book, it's more heavy and more about like a physical relationship, and I don't know, I'm just not really vibing with it, but I will probably be picking up through these days, especially like at night, because I prefer reading on my iPad at night because I don't have to have my light on. I don't know how I'm feeling about it right now. Like, they definitely have a connection, and I can definitely see how it could become really interesting, especially I've just gotten to the point where I think like they're gonna kind of get together a bit, but I don't know how I feel about it, so yeah. Hey guys, it is Wednesday right now. I know I didn't talk or honestly film very many clips yesterday, but I was just reading at the pool yesterday and today, and it was just like so packed that I couldn't talk and felt like everyone was staring at me if I was really getting like a lot of clips. But I am currently 620 pages in. I don't have that much left. I have 180 pages, which like is a lot, but it's not bad. I'm really liking it. Like, when I read it, any Sarah J Maas book, like, it just keeps you in it. But when I take a step out, like, when I put it down for a second and actually think about it, like, it's been a bit slow these past, like, 100 pages. Like, stuff has been happening, but I just haven't been that invested. Like, I'm reading it and I'm enjoying it, but I'm like, honestly, I haven't really been caring. I don't know if it's because, like, I read the first like 460 pages and then took like a 2-3 month break before I continued reading it. It could honestly be about that, so I'm just like kind of like out of the world a little bit, because I did read like the first one to like the beginning of this like back to back, but I've just been a little bit like not invested. But it is really good and I'm enjoying it. I did just in general, I have been liking this book less than the first one in the series, but yeah, I just haven't been as invested, but it is really good. Like, the same thing with her Throne of Glass series. I've read the first 2 books in that series and I don't like it. I'm gonna continue it because so many people like it, and I feel like maybe I'll get to a point where I do, and I just wanna, like, I keep being like, okay, I'll try the next book and I'll try the next book, like, we'll see. And like, her reading is so gripping. Like, I read the first book in the Throne of Glass series in like, I think like 1 or 2 sittings, but then I was like, I don't like it. Like, I don't like the book. It's just like the writing is done really well and it like really keeps you like in the story, but I just don't particularly, or that one I have like so many things that I don't like about it, but like she is really good at like keeping you in the story and keeping you immersed. I don't know, I've just been feeling a little bit separated from these characters. But yeah, I think I want to try to like read like a chapter of Emma every day, at least to kind of stay in the world, and so that I'm not so like jarred whenever I go back into it, because it's obviously a very old style of writing because it's from the 19th century. So I think I want to, because I was watching someone's reading vlog yesterday or the other day. Katie is reading. I really like her reading vlogs because they're like really long. They're like over an hour long normally. And she was reading Emma, and she was like, yeah, I like try to read a chapter every day so I don't like get out of it, because it's just like with classics, like she always does that. And I was like, that is actually really smart to do when reading a classic, that you're not just like binging in one, because like I love Jane Austen, like guys, I love Jane Austen. I don't know, I've just not been reaching for her like when I have this now, because this is just like really like immersive. So I think I want to start like reading like a chapter a day and then do that, so it's like even if I'm not sat reading it every day, at least I'm getting some progress, and so that I don't just read one book in this reading vlog, because that would be a bit boring. But yeah, I think I'll probably finish this like tomorrow or the next day, depending on how much I read today. I mean, it is only like 2 p.m. Also, I was talking to my dad about the book cart thing. I was like, oh, I was gonna go today to Target to buy another one. But he was like, oh, don't you have those like floating acrylic shelf thingies? So I have these like floating acrylic shelf thingies that I bought, I'm gonna say like 2 years ago, and they're like clear, so it looks like the books are like, they're like this wide, so I could like stack like, I don't know, like a few books onto each one. And I was like, oh my god, yeah. So I was thinking of like putting some there, because I have that space, and maybe like some other places, but I think that's a good one. And I was like, perfect, so I can just do that now, so I don't have to spend money, and also it would look cool until I really need another one of these to go here, when I just have like even more books, which will definitely happen when I come back from Bristol next year, because I also didn't even bring back my entire collection, and every single one of these books I bought in Bristol. I only buy books in the UK, so I'm just not like, but of recent, like I will either thrift books, which is like all of these, like they're all thrifted except for my Shakespeare's, or buy books in the UK, because I just love that they're all the same height and they're cheaper. And hey, sometimes I don't want to read on my iPad. Like I just love a good physical book sometimes. I don't do it always. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know where I put those acrylic thingies. I like loosely looked for it a little bit ago. But yeah, I'm gonna do those, and I'll probably put those up this week. But I am so excited to put those up. I think that'll be so cute. I think I want to display some of my like favorites or something, so I'd probably put like my like, even though I only have 2 of my 5 Magnolia Parks with me here, I think I'm gonna do like Magnolia Parks on one of them, maybe like when I get the rest of the Heartstoppers, like my Heartstoppers, and then maybe like, I don't know, I think I want to do that. I think that would be cute. And then I could also redo my floating shelves over there that I have, because I have like a section in the middle that's a bunch of my favorite books from like a while ago, so I want to kind of reorganize that. This will all happen in this vlog if I can find these acrylic shelf thingies. But yeah, so far that's the book update. We're getting there. I've read like 200 pages in the past 3 days. I didn't read a lot yesterday because I had plans, but yeah, that's what's been happening. And I'm Hey guys, it's Friday right now. I know I don't know why that was so aggressive. The hey guys and okay. we're just gonna... Hey guys, it's Friday right now. I was just reading Emma yesterday. Yesterday was such a light reading day. I literally just read a chapter of Emma. I was also listening to an audiobook. Like the night before that, I was just like, nah, I just feel like listening to an audiobook right now. And so I just looked on my Libby app, which like you can connect that to your library card and then you can get like ebooks and audiobooks. And it's just like a library in the sense that like it'll be like, oh well, this is taken out right now but like in 3 weeks, but I put it on available now, and I was just like, literally just give me a romance that's available now. And I listened to this, if it wants to connect, Set on You by Amy Leah. It was fine, but I think reading this has cemented that I am officially out of my romance for the sake of romance era, and now I am more in the, when I want a romance, give me a Beth O'Leary, give me an Emily Henry, give me, oh my god, who else? Give me an Abby Jimenez, and also what I've heard of, what's her name? Annabelle Monaghan? I believe, I haven't read any of her books, but I've heard that they're very much like that. Didn't explain what like that is, but anyway, I want books that it's like 50% lit fic, 50% romance. It's like there's romance, but it's like not, it is the forefront of the story, but the story is so much more like character driven, a character study, like we're going more into it, like it is very literary fiction. I feel like that's what I've been wanting. That's also very much Jane Austen's vibe, which a bunch of vlogs back now, like when I was in Serbia, I was talking about like the connection between Beth O'Leary and Jane Austen, how I feel like Beth O'Leary is like a modern day Jane Austen, the way that she writes and such. I'll fix that later. But anyway, yeah, I read that and I was just like, it was fine. Like as a romance, it was good, it was cute. It's about this like curvy fitstagrammer, like fitness Instagrammer, and it was like in this guy that she meets at the gym, and it was just about that. It was fine, it was cute, it was whatever, but I just want more. I want more, and so I'm done with that, which is nice, which is good. But anyway, yeah, I read physically a chapter of Emma yesterday. I read a chapter today. I'm like loving it now. Like I've finally gotten into like the, okay, like now that I've read it a few days in a row, like really getting into it, back in the language, I'm really liking it. I hate Emma. The point is to hate Emma. Emma's a horrible person. That's why we have 500 pages of character development. These pages are Bible thin. Like this is an 800-page book and this is a 500-page book. That, like, it doesn't look it. These are literally like the thinnest pages ever. Like I've read 100 pages. That is not what 100 pages should look like. Yeah, we've got 500 pages to develop her character because she sucks right now. She is vain and conceited and just wants to manipulate things to the way that she thinks things should be. And then House of Sky and Breath, I don't know when I last talked about this, but like loving it. I only have like 180 pages left right now. I haven't read it in the past 2 days. I just feel like it's gotten slow. Like I sit down and I read it and I'm going through it, but when I did talk about this, when I take a step back, it just like, when I think back on it, it's been a bit slow, but I do like it. I don't know how much I'm gonna be reading today because I have stuff to do. I feel like this shows a good difference in how my reading is, because like last week I think I fully finished 3 books, and this week like I've been reading, I just haven't finished any because this is an 800-page book, this is a 500-page book. I'm gonna finish the audiobook, but I feel like when I finish an audiobook I don't count it as finishing a book, but I do like count it as reading. I don't know, it's just because it's like I just sit there for the entire duration of the book and I just listen, so it's like there's not really many breaks personally when I read audiobooks. But yeah, like I've been having a great time reading, I just haven't finished the book. I don't know. These are also like, I feel like classics and fantasy is just, it takes so much longer to read the same amount of pages. Like I could read like a romance or a lit fic a day. Like one a day, I could pump those out. But a fantasy book, even if we're talking like 300 to like 500 page mark, it's still it's still gonna take me longer. It just takes me so long to read the pages. Like I feel like in lit fic, it's like in an hour I can read approximately 60 minutes, so it's like a page to a minute, whereas this, it's like in an hour I'll read like 20 pages, and I'm like, wow, how did it take me 3 minutes to read a page? Like I know it, there's no way that it took me 3 minutes to read a page, but it's just because you have to like reread and think and see how things connect. And similarly in a classic, you're like, oh, there's a lot more thought-provoking stuff in here, and I need to connect it, and then I need to remember the period that it's written in and how that connects, and like context. And yeah, so they're just slow reads, but like I'm really enjoying them. It's just how it is. But yeah, I don't know how much reading I'm gonna have done today, and also I still can't find those shelves, so I can't put them on. But you guys should subscribe and see, because probably next week's vlog, then for sure, like I'll find them by now, or by then, to put them up. I think I want to do a like bookshelf reorganization when I put those up, because the way that my carts are currently organized is like, it's fine, but it just like doesn't, like it makes sense, but there's a better way to put them that would like make more sense for me, especially when I like add in new books and stuff, especially with my floating shelves. Like I really want to switch those around, so that'll be coming hopefully soon-ish. So yeah, maybe I should put on an audiobook. I have like a few on hold right now. I just haven't been, I'm not in an audiobook mood. I'm in a sit down and read mood. I do have Daisy Jones and the Six, which I really want to read, and I've heard that it's really good in audiobook, but I just really want to read it, like physically. I also have Finding Me by Viola Davis, her memoir, and she narrates the memoir, so I think that would be great. And I have The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer, which I've heard is really good, but I also want to physically read that because it is a book that I've heard has really beautiful quotes and stuff. And I feel like books that I know, like I want to sit down and like annotate. Like I don't like listening to them on audio because I'll like pass through that quote, like it won't hit as much, because I feel like audiobooks, I kind of listen to like music, like I'm not 100% there for every word that they're speaking. So yeah, I don't know, I like constantly have so many things, but I'm just not listening to them right now. The one thing that I want to be listening to, and I would actually listen to if I had a hold, but I still have to wait 5 weeks for, is Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas, because I have been really trying to give the Throne of Glass series a shot. I read Throne of Glass, not hated it, but like severely disliked it. And then I read, I believe Crowd of Midnight is next, and I liked that one marginally more, but still I felt like my issue, I'm not going to get into it too much, but my issue with the Throne of Glass series is I feel like they act like so much is happening, but nothing is actually happening. And obviously like later in the books, there's gotta be more happening. I mean, the last book, Kingdom of Ash, is literally almost 1,000 pages, and it's like a high stakes fantasy, but like right now, when they're still like in the castle, not moving, I feel like nothing's going on. And I've heard that if you read Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel, that you like the main character more, which I don't like her, don't give a shit about her. I think she is so boring as a main character. I just cannot get on board with her, and people say that she's like their favorite Sarah J Maas heroine, which like I think Bryce from Crescent City is like really interesting, and I love Feyre and I love Nesta from ACOTAR, so I just don't like Selena, but I do really want to read Assassin's Blade, so maybe I'll sympathize with her, maybe I'll like her, maybe that'll want me to continue the series more. Yeah, but I have to wait 5 weeks for that. So but yeah, I'll probably sometime today maybe either read another chapter of Emma or keep it going with this. But yeah, today is definitely not going to be a big reading day, so this will probably be like the last talking clip of today. it's so sad in a reading vlog when I don't actually finish a book, but it's like I'm reading books, and if I like put in the amount of pages that I read of Emma and just read this instead, then like I would have finished it, or if I didn't read the audiobook, you know. But yeah, I just, whatever, I don't need to explain myself. It's just every reading day, every reading week is different. Yeah, so off to doing chores.